Best experienced with headphones. Transylvania. Beyond the painted postcards and the laughter of tourists, there is a boundary line where the road turns narrow, where the pines gather close, and the air itself begins to listen. They call this place Hoia Baciu. Outsiders, grasping for an anchor, have named it the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. But a triangle has edges you can see. This forest has only thresholds. Step carefully. Hear how the gravel softens underfoot, how the breeze threads the needles of black pine, how the birds sing once, and then consider their song finished. Here, the compass grows tired of telling the truth. Needles shiver, directions blur. The very idea of east and west becomes a rumor you half remember. The first whisper was a shepherd's story. He led his flock into the green, the way his father had, and his father before him. The animals went quiet. Their bells did not ring. He walked after them, and the fog folded over his shoulders like a cloak. Neither man nor beast returned. The village waited with lamps in windows, with benches left warm by anxious bodies. Dawn found no prints on the path, only dew and silence. Years later, a child wandered into the trees, chasing a white moth as children do, playing at bravery. The forest swallowed her name. Days became seasons, and seasons circled into years. Then, one afternoon, she stepped back onto the path as if she had only paused to breathe. Her dress was unchanged, her shoes unscuffed. But her eyes had learned a language the mouth refuses to speak. 5 years had passed, and not a single day had written itself upon her face. There is, they say, a circle within this wood, a perfect ring scorched into living earth where nothing grows, no grass blade, no defiant weed. Roots reach the border and recoil, cut clean by an invisible blade. Stand at its edge, and the skin along your arms will lift, as if a low wind has chosen only you. Step into its center, and the sound of your own breath will seem borrowed from someone standing just behind you. Listen. The forest is not empty. It is attentive. It counts your steps. It measures your resolve. And when it is ready, it will answer your presence with a presence of its own. Do not be brave for the sake of the word. Be careful for the sake of your return. For in Hoia Baciu, the path you take in is not always the path that brings you back. A ring so perfect, it offends the chaos of the natural world. From above, it is a pale scar in the dark green flesh of the forest. No sapling dares root there. No weed threads its way through the soil. Roots snake forward underground and stop, as if their journey has met a silent command to turn back. The air here feels deliberate, too still, too watchful. Some say the circle is where the forest breathes, an open mouth inhaling secrets and exhaling what it chooses to keep. Others call it a threshold. Step over its invisible line, they say, and you are no longer standing only in this world. In the center, the wind dies completely. No rustle of branches, no whisper of leaves. Yet in that silence, other sounds rise, a low hum that may be your own blood in your ears, or something older than the trees themselves. And there, just on the edge of hearing, a voice that shapes no words, yet still speaks to you. The ring is framed by trees that have grown wrong. Their trunks twist in spirals, their branches curling like the fingers of a hand caught mid-clench. The bark is wounded in long, parallel gashes, deep enough to catch shadow, shallow enough to appear intentional. No animal claws, no storm damage. Each mark runs like the script of an unspoken language across the skin of the forest. And when you take a photograph here, the clearing keeps part of itself for the film alone. Shapes you did not see with your eyes reveal themselves in the print. Faces pale as moonlight. Their proportions almost human, but not entirely. Eyes that hold no white, only depthless black, gazing back from the mist. In the oldest tales, This place is not merely odd, it is thin. The barrier between worlds here is no fortress. It is a veil, a membrane, and something on the other side presses close enough to let its breath seep through. Collect stories the way trees collect rings, each one sealed inside another. Some are whispers passed over cups of black coffee in the early hours. Others are shouted in the tavern until someone changes the subject. They speak of soldiers in uniforms from another century, columns of them moving silently between the trees, boots pressing into leaves that refuse to crunch. Their eyes never turn toward you, yet you feel marked by their passage, as if your name has been added to a list you cannot read. There are lights here, cold spheres drifting through the mist, weaving between trunks like lanterns carried by unseen hands. They hover, pause, and vanish as though passing through a doorway only they can see. In the 1960s, a biologist came to study the circle. The man was trained in patience, in precision, but when he returned to his darkroom, the photographs showed him what the eye had not: two glowing shapes hanging in midair, and behind them, at the tree line, the faint outline of a figure, tall, still, and watching. He never returned to the clearing. He spoke once of the warmth, how stepping into the ring felt like stepping from winter into summer. Frost clung to the ground beyond, but here, the air moved like the breath of something alive. Villagers warn against walking in the forest after sunset. The day holds enough dangers without tempting the night. They tell of footsteps pacing yours, never closer, never further away, until your own steps falter, of laughter bursting from the shadows, brief and sharp, before the silence rushes back in to close over it. They speak of your name being called in the voice of someone you love, only to find the path behind you empty.
The forest at dusk. He intended to be home before dark. When he emerged, the village did not greet him with the evening fires, but with suspicion. 3 days had passed. The bread in his pack was mold-covered, his watch's hands frozen mid-second. His hair, longer than he remembered. The forest does not return everything in the same state it took it. Teams of scientists have tried to impose the order of measurement upon this place. They have studied its soil, its air, its strange magnetic currents. They have cataloged plants, searching for hallucinogens that might warp the mind. But every answer curls back into a question. Instruments die without cause. Recordings are found blank. The clearing remains lifeless, immune to reason. The deeper you walk, the more the path unravels behind you. Landmarks vanish. The undergrowth thickens where it was thin a moment before. The air takes on a weight you feel in your chest. Even the birds, ever present in any wood, fall silent, as though something larger has claimed the right to speak. It is here, in this deep quiet, that you notice it, the sensation of being observed, not by one thing, but by the forest itself. It knows where you are. It has decided how it feels about you. Some turn back then, others cannot find the way.
Believe Hoia Baciu is not simply alive, but aware. That it is a mind disguised in roots and leaves, that it listens to every step, every breath, and keeps its own counsel on what will happen next. Perhaps the clearing is the forest's mind, a space where thoughts slip into shapes we can almost see. Perhaps those who enter become part of that thinking. If so, the forest is not cruel, it is curious. And curiosity is dangerous when the thing asking the questions does not measure time as we do. The old stories survive because they have not been disproven. The shepherd who vanished with his flock. The girl who returned unchanged. The faces that slip into photographs like uninvited guests. Each tale is a root in the soil of this place, and the soil is deep. If you stand in the clearing, you may feel that deep soil beneath you, and something beneath that, watching, waiting. If you hear your name in the clearing, do not answer. If you feel a hand at your shoulder,
do not turn. And if you catch movement in the corner of your eye, remember, what comes to you here may not be meant for you to see directly. Step carefully. Walk light. Leave nothing behind, not even your shadow. And when the forest breathes, do not breathe in with it. For this is not just a place on a map. It is a threshold, a border where the known world frays into silence. The trees here do not merely grow, they remember. They have stood long enough to watch centuries pass, to feel kingdoms rise and fall. And in that long memory, they have learned to choose which stories to keep and which to take. If the forest accepts you, you will return with only a tale. But if it does not, you may become another whisper, another photograph, another shadow in the mist, and the forest will remain, waiting patiently for the next step, the next breath, the next soul bold enough to enter.